Okay, we're totally recording. Yay. Okay, so talking through G-Pit. I'm just trying to think where to start with this. Okay, so I mean, obvious stuff is obvious. Like, start with your group. We're talking about defense now. I presume your team's going to be defending B, just because, you know, everyone defends B. I'd like to try and work out a kind of coherent strat for guarding A at some point, but I don't know. I'm not sure how practical that is. Yeah, one day. So the way we do it in chess is a bit weird, and I wouldn't really advise anyone else to do it, but if they want to try it, they can. We've been playing with having the sentry gun like up here, because we just don't know what. So like the advantage of having it behind shadow here is it kind of creates this place that your team can play off from shadow, but one, you can kind of ignore the gun to capture the spot, which, you know, doesn't happen too much, but like it doesn't really help with the roof, it doesn't really help with any kind of forward hold. It just seems to die a little bit, so we started experimenting with having the gun up here and having this kind of quirky hold where the gun's here. I think we might be moving it over to the right though. I really like having it up here, but maybe this is a bit silly because it covers long. We have a combo kind of hanging out down here. Our demo on this thing, because it means that, okay, so we've got our sniper kind of over here covering long, our demo and myself are covering short, like shooting through here is very effective unless it's a sniper turns up, and if I'm shooting through here and our demo's up there splashing as well, it makes it really brutal for anything to come out of short, which is quite nice. The main crux of this tactic is you've got to have good presence on C. Like, I'm trying to remember who we had covering C. I think we might have had a Pyro Scissors in 2, because then he knows if anything's coming around the back. But yeah, you need to know like where the combo's coming from, because a big one about that is, yeah, if the combo's coming from C side, then you need to pick up the gun and shift it like all the way down here, so that they have to Uber in really early, they're getting shot by a gun, and it's just really painful for them. Likewise, if you know that they're going to be pushing from long, then you want the kind of gun up here, but with the way that we're holding it, we already have it here, so that's all right. Yeah, so like talking about Gravelpit as a heavy, I don't talk that much about individual heavy stuff, because heavies, I don't know, you're not a playmaker on this map. Like, massively not so. Like, quite often you're not that much of a playmaker, but in this one, like, massively so. You're just kind of being glued to hold things together. Because so go on.
Isn't having an idea of what's coming from C important, regardless of whether or not you're doing that chess hold or the hold here?
If you've got your gun down here, it's not as important. Because if they
the thing
that
in, mostly happens to us is the fact that their NG sets up a sneaky level 3 on there. Like,
whereabouts?
On the C tower. Like their NG.
Oh, on the C tower.
That's what I meant with covering it a bit.
Okay, so okay, that's an interesting one, right? So, in fact, okay, we can talk about now. Okay, so you've got everyone in on B, and you're doing a hold here, and a common occurrence is you'll find out that they've got a farm set up somewhere on the C tower. Now, what's really important about this is for your team to kind of know how to play it out, because if like people just try coming in here one by one to take out the gun, it doesn't work well. Now, what they're trying to do if they have that gun up there, if you have everyone up, you can kind of ignore it, because, okay, think of it like this. You've got your entire team defending B, they've got some of their team defending C, and you don't give a damn because they've got to defend, because they've got a cat B and they can't. What they're going to try and do if they have the gun set up there is it's kind of like they're going to try and pick you off one by one and split up your forces. So you need to work out on the fly who's gone down and how effective that is going to be at taking out the sentry gun. Having a spy on the case is really effective. But okay, so what you don't want to do is, if a couple of your people go down, you don't want to take the combo up here and try and get into them, because then it's as if they're defending and they've got the defender's advantage in that you're coming through a choke to them. So ideally what you want to do is, you're all defending B, they've got a gun up there, that's fine. They'll try and push B in some way, you'll get some picks, you've got numbers, and then once you have numbers, you kind of push out of 1 and 2 and squish them. You probably want to also time that with your sniper spawning. So like, it's normally the sniper who dies and he'll up spawning. If the sniper hasn't died, then, you know, a sniper going to 2, like in here with the right cover, this can normally take out whatever guns up there. Also like coordinating with your spy and stuff. But yeah, what I would say is don't panic around it and like think, oh my god, we have to run in and sort that shit out, when actually you've got loads of time. The only danger is if you're like bleeding players from the B defense, and yeah, they're like spawning here and they're like getting cut off and like dying. Like if your medic dies and he's in here, then you need to get forces to sort out what's going on in that tower pretty sharpish, because if your medic's trapped back here, that's pretty bad. But I mean, for like where the gun can be, like say it's up there, right? I mean, if you come out right side of spawn.
What's bubble planning?
This is just bubble, you know, looking at stuff. Yeah, like I mean, it's very hard for an NG to successfully hold that without a lot of his team as well. And if their entire team is not really attacking B but defending C, you're okay with that, you know? Like, when it happened to you, where were they holding and stuff? Was it like the gun up on that corner up there?
I honestly have no clue. The last time I played Gravelpit, it was TF2, and I think that wasn't even on main. I think I missed every Gravelpit week so far when there was actually an official. I just noticed last night when I was working that they were panicking a lot about it, and that when in my old team I just kind of designated a few people that were watching A to watch C for whenever there's something coming from there, to kind of annoy this NG when he tries to set something up.
Yeah, I mean a common one is to like have your spy just chilling at the top with, you know, cloak and dagger, and if the NG sets up a farm, you just stab him, whatever, you know.
Yeah, mostly, well, I think, yeah, we had scout, soldier, and spy do A to like call whatever the hell they were doing at A and whatever not they were, and then just them holding C, because those three, even those two, maybe if
I'd say having a soldier,
I just felt the spy would be able the one that survived the most of their combo would come through.
I think having a soldier in C is probably
whereas
too
the
much.
others would get focused the fuck down.
Okay, all you want in C is you don't want a major force there, because okay, this is one of those maps where you want your entire team fighting in vaguely the same place if you can, just because if you're separated, you're much easier to take out if they have like a roving blob of death, you know. So what's common is you kind of have either the pyro just looking here, peeking out and stuff, because he can generally look after himself, or the scout just like peeking in at A and not actually wanting to take on a full-on fight, or like the spy around. But like if you commit your soldier to C, like he's kind of got to be looking for frags at that point. I mean, he can just be like dancing around, but like he's like part of your really good roof defense at B.
That's also true.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. Okay, so yeah, so it'll very much depend, like how you want to play it out will depend on how your team wants to hold. One thing that's interesting about Gravelpit is that this is the map where like Prem and like how the top divs are playing it is getting very much abstracted, but from how most people play it, because all of the Prem teams I've seen are like doing these very aggressive holds on roof and like really getting in people's faces, whereas the kind of meta for the lower divs is still to have this gun in shadow. Because I mean, the problem with this gun in shadow is jumpers can do an awful lot of damage. Like we were having our NG and Med down here, you know, cabered by Cadus and stuff, which is awkward, because the good demo men who can really jump can do that crap. But unless the other team has really seriously talented jumpers, then it's actually very safe, and probably more safe to have your stuff here. Yeah. So, okay, let's not try and get into the specifics too much, because I mean that'll depend on how your team wants to hold. But okay, let's talk about generic stuff about how to play around this point and things when things are a bit scrappy. A really big one is working out when you can retake this point once it starts to get capped. Also, wait, other stuff to look out for. Oh yeah, sniper going rocks. Their sniper being rocks is one of the biggest things in this game for this map. And as a heavy, you can do largely fuck all about it. If their sniper goes rocks and you've got your gun here, this starts making this area really untenable. Like, unless you really want to get in the sniper's face, which, you know, suddenly you're getting kind of into a dodgy position around here. I don't like being around here because you end up getting separated from people. I much prefer, like, being able to back out slowly. Because as you're not, like, being a playmaker, as you're kind of just backing other people up, because the damage distances on this point are actually pretty horrible for a heavy. Unless you can, like, get people fighting you up nice and close on one of the corners, like, it's all very mid to long rangey and, like, high ground as well. What else to talk about? Tellies on roof is an option if your NG wants to do that, but again, it's kind of getting into specifics. And if you are being a heavy on roof, you've got to very much think about where stuff is attacking from. Like, if the enemy are coming from C side, then you being on roof isn't that great, because everything's kind of mid-rangey. You're not going to be putting in much damage, and although you'll be denying people jumping to roof, you can't really help anyone else out in the fight. So say, I mean, yeah, if your team's like far back, like over here when they're attacking from C, then being on roof is great. However, if you've got some members of your team who are like holding up on catwalk and ridge and you're on roof, then you're really not supporting them that much at all. So yeah, like, what you want to be thinking about on this point is very much like playing a support role. Like, denying areas and, yeah, very much keeping people off your demo and keeping your medic alive. Like, you're not much of a playmaker here. There's, like, not much scope for ambushes. And yeah, it's just... this is, in fact, a really bad map for heavy, just because there's so much vertical, essentially.
I was going to quickly ask, like, when we, like, tend to attack, the kind of connectors get really confusing, and people have like different ideas of where like the combo should be and where they're going to push through, and kind of, so I'm not like 100% sure whether heavy should go to A to start with and then go to B after.
What, on attacking or defense?
Yeah. Well, sorry, are we talking about defense right now?
Yeah, we're doing defense right now.
Alright, okay, so like on defense, basically, like, usually we hold B and we have like a couple of classes in A, but still, like, I mean, it's like it's a really limited space to work with, because if you peek too far, like, you're gonna get sniped and like, so it's pretty limited to.
If you're feeling a bit limited, as if you're not actually contributing that much on B, that might mean you're doing a good job.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, it's not like where you're the cornerstone of defence, just because there is no good place to hold for a heavy here. Yeah. Like, everything's a bit long range and stuff. It's very, very awkward. So you kind of have to just play it, I don't know, just play it by ear. Like, go around your defence and just use general, like, heavy zoning. Like, you want to be looking to the sky more, like, for jumpers, then you want to be looking, like, for direct damage on enemies, because... yeah, everything is just a bit far away. And even the distances, like, okay, so say that your combo's holding in shadow and you're peeking at the front ramp of the B point. Like, if you want to retreat, the distance that you have to run to get to anywhere remotely safe is just huge. So there's not, like, although you've got little corners to hide behind, those corners are quite deceptive. Because, like, okay, so this hut here, like, if there's people coming around here, then you've got a good corner to play with and, like, work with as a heavy. But then if they come in too close, there's not another corner or anywhere else to hide for a long distance. You've suddenly got a very long, like, run away to get to anywhere vaguely safe.
Yeah.
For that, I'd say, like, very much think about where you are in relation to your team's sentry gun. Like, if ever you're not within the range of your team's sentry gun, you might want to think about that. Just because if you're in sentry gun range, then you can pull back and the gun will, like, start putting damage on the person you're running away from.
Yeah, usually I find myself being near, like, the dispenser, being near the sentry. So, I mean, the only thing I find difficult is if people start to cut B, and you've got, I mean, usually if you Uber into them or something, you're not...
they'll just run away.
And it's kind of like a huge maze to try and get anyone, and you kind of have no damage because of the, you know, as you said, like, the mid to long range kind of areas that you've got on this map. There's no real kind of...
That's pretty much it on Gravelpit. It's horrible for heavy. It's really awkward to defend this. Okay, so what will normally happen is if people are capping B, then coming from here is really nice. You've kind of got good angles, good cover.
You can like fighting up this ramp. You're taking less damage from people. It's pretty cool. What else?
The other side sucks.
Yeah, I tend to not try and play around the rock side of things, just because you're just so exposed and you're so far from any form of safety. Like the times that I've gone around here to like clean up a sniper, it's always really, really dodgy.
Yeah.
One thing I'd say is, and in fact I'm going to use the word defenestration here, because it's an amazing word. It means throwing something out of a window. I love the fact that there's actually a word for that. But yeah, practicing defenestrating yourself is really important here. Like, get those jumps out the windows really smooth.
This ramp sucks. The ramp that you're on now, that just sucks. Because like
front one.
I always get, the one near the rock. Because it's like, not that one, but the other one near the rocks. Like, I always find myself, if we have to contest like the point, for some reason, I don't know why, but it seems like the option to go for, and I get stuck, and then I'll just get completely like shut out by a demo man. So maybe and then I'll just be worried about the sniper the entire time.
I try to not ever be here. Like I find this entire area around here just to be a very good place for me to die.
Okay.
Like, just because, so you won't be, wherever your sentry gun is, you won't be supported. They're going to be coming out of spawn. There might be a sniper coming out of long. They love doing that because they want to get behind the rocks.
Yeah.
If people are coming out of short, then they've nigh on cut you off from that route of escape, so you're going to have to be running back this way. And if you're running back this way, well, this entire area here is a massive kill alley if they're like in position. Oops, sorry, Will. Yeah, so like you want to play quite far back. Like this is definitely the place for your defensive heavy. It's awkward. This lamp here really pisses me off as well. It like stops your jump spins if you hit it wrong.
Okay.
And these door frames do it as well. It's just the whole point is gummy as fuck for heavy. What's important is to know where you can jump up places. I don't know if you don't know you can jump up here. This is a massive bit of movement just on this corner here. You can't do it anywhere else on this thing. Just that little corner, it's really useful.
Why the hell is that then? I've always tried to go up that side and like
there as well.
There's a little bit of raised floor here, and that lets you get up.
Okay, that's really strange. Because I've always had to run around the other side to do
exactly.
Yeah, no, that little one's big there.
If you get it right, you can jump from this ramp as well, over here.
With what, without Gru?
No, with Gru.
Okay, with Gru, sure.
Okay, but then you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, running around with Gru.
I don't know, like, that's the thing. Because usually, if you run the Gru on this map, like, because of the amount of the distance that you have to run, like as you said, to get under cover, I usually find myself dying just from, like, taking mini crits. And
yeah.
So it's pretty, you have to kind of balance it with just...
I tend to run Fists of Steel as default on defense here.
Right, okay.
Just because you've got that extra little bit of lastability, and there's no time that you should be away from the medic, really, on this map.
Okay.
Like, having the heavy as a medic bodyguard supporting the demo means that his reduced effectiveness on this point is not so bad. It frees up your pyro to do lots of work. And yeah, it just seems to kind of work quite nicely because it's jumpers constantly coming at your med. So that's what you want to be kind of concentrating on.
Cool. Speaking of fancy jumps though, if you come to C quickly, I've got some other things.
I've got some stuff there as well. Let's do B first and then we can move to C. Work out also where you can jump onto this thing, because this, like jumping onto this nicely, will be the difference between life and death. And you'll notice like the floor's kind of knobbly here. There's some bits like I don't think you can jump up just here. Oh no, you can. You can jump up all the way along. But some bits are easier than others and faster, and yeah, it matters a lot.
Yeah. This bit here in particular, if you use this line for a reference point, the one that's like right in front of me, then that's like a really easy jump to do.
Okay, cool. Because like I always find myself getting stuck on things, and like you'll just get like mowed down by whatever kind of classes are running at you. Because usually when you start to the biggest problem we have is when they start to cap the B point. People start to like filter in individually, and they just kind of die, and then you kind of have to we just kind of set up on C, and then you lose a hell of a lot of time. So
yeah, and the worst is if people just filter into B. If the other team are savvy about it, they can leave a skeleton crew to cap B, and then because you've got people down, they rush in on C. And
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? They just put their combo straight on C, and then you're pretty screwed anyway because they've probably got an advantage in either, and like.
Yeah.
You know?
What I'd say is be very, very wary about when the call happens to pull out of B, and also like as to whether you can recap it, because sometimes you can recap B and there's no point giving it up without a fight, but at the same time you really need people not to wipe there. So that's something for your team to work out. You really need someone who's trusted someone's who are gonna call that at a timely point. And yeah, just use your game sense. Like whenever you're thinking about defending B, hit tab and just see who's up and who's down. Or like, you know, ask someone who's in there, like, what the status is. Are we defending this or are we pulling out, etc., etc.
Very cool.
Last couple of things just about minutiae about B point. Under these ramps is a great place to decloak. So be very wary of them wherever you're holding. And there's one little thing over here I want to talk about just because it's really cute, which is shooting under this. Bullets go through this. So this can be a really nice angle of attack that people don't expect. Like, it's very situational, but say their heavy's peeking around that corner and you're down here and you just mow him down. That works.
Alright, cool.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to C defense, then we'll talk about attack, because attack very much depends on how people are defending. Okay, again on C defense, this is where like the Prem teams and the teams from other divs have kind of diverged quite a lot recently. So okay, one thing I want you to practice, because it's really important, is how to get up onto the back roof. Yep, you know, MB.
Hi.
Trick to doing this is a weird one. I don't really understand quite what's going on and why it works, but it does work every time. Okay, so come up to the top of the scene, you can see this, right? There's this, it's on this side, you've got a little bit of grate that you can jump onto. Once you're on this corrugated iron, you need to jump again. I'm not really sure what am I getting onto when I jump again? I don't really understand it.
I think you're on the like flax board at first, and then you jump on the wood afterwards.
Yeah, maybe. I suspect it's something just to do with clip brushes. But yeah, you want to jump once to get onto.
Yeah.
Then you jump again to stabilise yourself, and then you can just jump up onto the back.
You can also just, if you practice the jump a lot, you can just jump straight from the corrugated iron onto the place by airstripping around.
You can, but I find that is a little unreliable. So
okay, so this is like a pretty nice
reliable,
area.
It's very difficult to get reliably yourself.
Okay, when you're on this roof, this is a really good spot, but you need to know how to work it. Now normally, say if I was facing towards covering this side, I'd be wanting to stay in quite a bit of cover. In this case I don't, I want to be on this corner in no cover. Here's why. If I'm here covering this side, if people are actually coming that way, then I can move pretty quickly to take cover on the other side of the roof. But the reason I don't want to be taking cover on the other side of the roof already is, if I'm looking towards B, taking cover on this side, I can get sniped from 4 or 5. So you want to be on the side of the roof that you're looking at, because that means that people coming out of the other side can't see you.
It also depends on how your team's holding, though.
Oh yeah, no, entirely. This is
like quite often recently, people have started holding the C corridor, like the AC corridor, I guess. So if they're doing that, then you don't have any real risk of being sniped.
It depends. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this is you don't want to hang it around here like as a regular thing. This is more like if things are getting a bit last ditch, or if like you're on the tower on your own. I mean, a very plausible tactic is, you know, the heavy can be on the tower on his own and the medic and demo will be down on the floor, because again, like just looking like at the areas down here, this is not good heavy fighting territory. There's no cover, everything's really long, like there's a long way to safety.
Yeah.
The way that the higher div teams have been holding it is getting a dispenser in this corner, and this is where the combo holds out, like heavy, demo, medic, possibly pyro. And the theory behind this one is you have, say, like your scout hanging out on B, just looking for picks and ready to run back and cover 1. The sentry going to leave B at 1 or like on the other side of 4. The combo's here denying this door, and also to some extent denying 1. They can like go wide here and revolve around. But then if the combo's here, if they start trying to push into the corridor that leads to 4 and 5 or 3, you can come here and start putting damage on them. Like if they're all like stacking up to attack from A, and you've got this corner to work around, and your demo's here splashing with you, then this is a great place for heavy. The only problem is that at your back there's some very good places to attack, but if you've got your scout watching those and making sure no one's coming through, then actually this is pretty cool.
And you can call them out as well, I suppose. Like, I mean, he can let you know. So if you need to kind of help him out, you can kind of. I mean, the problem we have is like managing people on different like exits, because there's so many different ways to get into the last. Yeah. That it's like.
Well, okay, so this is the advantage of having your heavy on Spire. If your heavy's on Spire, then whoever's fighting wherever below and whatever's going on, you've got a good backup plan. It means that, say if your jumpers are dead, it means a cheeky scout isn't just going to cap stuff.
Okay, so whereabouts, I mean, obviously, do you put yourself in on the middle, or like here?
Okay, the back roof is good for holding.
Right.
Okay, I do a slightly cheeky place that shouldn't work on paper, but does because people don't expect it. I tend to hold here.
Right.
Well, this is like, if the sniper's called somewhere, then I can play around here a lot, because people run around here, and like a scout running up or a spy running up or anyone running up is going to run straight into you and die really, really fast. You can also, like, you know, hit any of the connectors as well. The problem with this is if you get a sniper in 3, then you can't be here. What will generally happen is, if their sniper's good and he's someone I'm like being a bit wary of, I'll kind of hold at the top of ramp here, because when you're here, a spy can't get up, which is pretty massive as well. It means you don't have to look behind you because there's just no way past you. So if you know that the top is clear, and like if you're in and you know you've been in here, then you don't need to check your back. Okay, if you're driven out of here because there's a sniper there, then I'll normally end up on one of the side things and jumping across like really dangerously, and I don't like it.
So obviously, yeah, usually we find the snipers in the top. What would you call that? What do you call that? Like the A thing, the A connector, is that?
Okay. From here, the way you call all these tunnels is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 over here, and 5 is down below. It's simple enough. You just count round. But so if you've got all those numbers like in your head, and your team's like along with that way of naming, then it's really easy and simple. It works really well.
Okay, cool. So yeah, usually they get a sniper up from 3. Like that's usually where you find a sniper. And so then obviously you have to kind of just. I mean, I kind of feel limited again, like because you can't really step out, you know. Yeah.
Once again, you've got to call that and let your team handle it.
Deal it. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Like there's loads of points in this map where, as a heavy, you just have to call something and chill and wait for someone else to fix it, because there's absolutely nothing you can do about a sniper in 3. Like, if it gets called that he's on really low health, then you can try and ding him, but even that's dodgy as hell, you know, because, But here's the thing, right? There's not much ammo on tower, so you don't just want to be spamming. You want to be shooting when you know there's people there and it's going to be useful, but the rest of the time you really want to be conserving ammo. Unless there's a dispenser up top, which is sometimes the case, or if there's people dying up here, that works, or whatever.
So yeah, I was going to say, like, usually, well, sometimes we have a dispenser, usually though it's on the floor, so you'd have to kind of get out of position, kind of risk your life to get some ammo, and then
usually everyone that dies, the ammo gets picked up by the scout or the soldiers who jumped up on point to save it.
What I tend to do is I tend to wait till a quiet moment, call that I'm getting ammo, and can someone else cover tower for me. Another thing that should be said about chilling up here as heavy is quite often people running up the tower won't notice you. Like, what I quite like doing is if you see a scout running out under you, you could like get a couple of dings as he runs up and he runs past, and if you're spun up and looking in the right direction, then go for it. But likewise, it's say if you see like someone disguised as a scout running out there, don't chase him. Like, there's no point. If there's a spy on point and you're up here, until the spy decloaks and starts capping, you don't give a damn, because he really can't get to you very easily at all.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Likewise, once a scout's capping, just give it a little bit of time for him to start capping, and then he's pretty convinced that, you know, there's no one up on point, or, you know, he'll be looking for where it's coming from. And if you just come up one of these ramps and hose him, he'll normally be hiding in one of these back corners. Then that's fine.
Okay. And so there's only one way to get up on the back roof.
You can air strafe round, but it's really tricky.
What, on the right side? Sorry, on the left side.
I think you can air strafe round on both sides. Yeah.
Yep. So what you do
no
is
reason not to.
With airstrafing, like if you just turn in the air, so you just hold your like your strafe button as well as like turning in the direction of the strafe, then you'll get a tiny bit of extra distance on your movement, so you can jump. I'll try it here, but I'll
it's awkward, but it works.
Okay.
But you know, if
you get used to it, it's really good.
Yeah, if you get really good at it, then use it. But I'm still like, do you know what? Like, I'd like to spend more time practicing it so it's 100%, but that's not something I'm going to use in official. I use this kind of like safe, kind of dumpy route. That's something to work on at some point.
Okay, well, I think that's cool. I just did it twice. I think it's a fluke.
Okay, stick with it, man. Maybe you got for it.
Nice. So some other small jump stuff as well. I was going to mention earlier. If you fall on the floor down here, and you don't want to exactly climb spire straight up, like let's say you want to go to the entrances over there, or for some reason you want to go over there, there's 3 different jumps you can do. If you're safe to use Gru, you can jump on this tiny ledge, and then you can jump onto that thing which I just messed up because I was too busy speaking, and then you can jump up straight up.
Okay.
The other one is, what Risk is doing now.
Here, can't you?
Yeah, you kind of like use this side thing to get a bit of extra height in order to jump up.
Heavy something corners. There we go.
Which is another
it's
thing
like
that's
you throw yourself a little bit into the wall, like as you jump, and then move along with that. I'm not really sure of why that works.
It's because you kind of like surf the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
TF2 collision boxes.
The other one is much easier, which is to just jump on this rock and jump straight up, which I just messed up. Like that.
Oh, okay.
So there's the 3.
It
depends on timing. Like it depends on how much time you have and where you want to be going.
Alright, cool.
I mean, for the most part, if you have enough time, you can just climb spire and go that way, like straight up the stairs if you really wanted to. But they're useful to know anyway, just in case you want to pull them off, because there's a specific situation that calls for them.
Any extra little bit of movement, things like that, was handy. Likewise, one thing about fighting up here, if, say, you're up against another heavy up here, or if there's other people here, then surprise is really useful. Like, okay, say you're up here, and you've just seen someone coming up the stairs from below, right?
Right.
They're going to be coming up here and looking for the heavy and trying to kill you. If as soon as they run past you, and you see them, you kind of just jink off the side and come up behind them, then that's going to surprise them.
Okay.
Because suddenly they get up to tower, there's no one on tower. There was no one right behind them when they were climbing tower, so they're kind of like safe for a second, except you went off behind and you're right behind them now. So
you can just
it's something to think about. Of course, the downside to that is if there's a whole load of them coming up, you drop off the edge and you jump into the next one. That's kind of sad.
So it's just like dominoes kind of.
But yeah, I mean, that's like desperation stuff for like, if there's a force coming up tower that you can't deal with on your own and you need to create some bullshit just to buy time and to, you know, try and make something happen to change the situation, then that's something you can play with.
Awesome, okay.
So you've just thought. We should talk about attacking and stuff, shouldn't we?
Yeah, sure.
Is that like, do you feel you know a bit more about what goes on in defense on C now?
I think the biggest thing is just always when I play Gravelpit, it's like you're trying to do as much as you can, but I guess that you just have to let's just stay alive and kind of be there.
I'd say just staying alive as heavy on this map is like a really big one, more so than other maps, just because you're not that effective as a playmaker. I mean, you can get away with it sometimes, like if you catch people by surprise. But okay, here's the way to think about it, right? You know how like there's those heavies who, you know, they get amazing plays, but they can be, you know, a bit too aggressive and they're a little unreliable. That's the very nature of making plays a heavy. Like, if you try stuff to be out of position, then sometimes you'll catch out your opponents and you'll get loads of kills, and then sometimes you won't and you'll just die, and then your team's down a heavy for no good reason. So it depends how your team works and how much that risk is worth taking, like in any given situation. But my general take is, if you've got a good demo you can work with, who you can support, then let him do the big plays and get the kills, and you just like be the support and like be kind of like the launching board for him. And that's kind of it seems just to be the most effective kind of way of getting victories. It's not best for you in terms of, you know, putting out damage or getting the frags, but whatever, right? Who cares? A win is a win.
That's true.
The big score is the one that counts, according to my demo man, whenever we get down.
That's demo men for you. They're a particular breed.
Do you have the Archon for this server, Risky?
I do, yes.
Could you turn cheese on for me?
Let me see.
I'll give you the commands because I know you're useless.
Ah, no, I'm on the thing that means I can. I've got it, but I don't have it like thing. So I've got the menus up, so I can press like what is it, O or P, and get the admin menu up. But I can't remember what the actual thing is.
Okay, so you can't. That's what you're saying.
Yes, I tried SV Cheats and it said no. Computer says no. Okay, let's look at attack, shall we? Yeah, so there's a couple of ways that you can attack here. Okay, first up, when the round starts, you should get at least one person from your team to shut the fuck up and go to each of the doors and just chill there and listen. Because knowing if stickies have gone up on each door is some really nice information to have.
Yeah, there's 3 things you listen out for, really. You listen out for stickies on either door. You listen out for I am fully charged, because that usually means they're going to try to pull off some crits bullshit, or it means that they're doing a forward hold on B.
Yes, true.
And you also listen out for teleporter being built, because if a teleport is built on like B tunnel, then sometimes you'll send a spy up on that teleport, and then he'll just be a faggot and do that thing.
You can also actually hear footsteps if stuff's quiet enough. I mean, it's a bit like, I'm not sure you can actually hear that through the doors. But yeah, sometimes you can hear people moving around out there too, like if a spy's just jumped up. Because I mean, you don't even need a telly. You can there's wall jumps on both sides where you can get in. So.
Yep.
Another less important one is an interesting facet of this pole here is that sandwiches kind of slide down it in a very strange way. This doesn't help.
This isn't very important.
This isn't like Prem strats, but look at that. Look how the sandwich just travels down that pole. What's going on? I don't even know.
What?
Look at that. It just kind of... It's like... Do you ever play the game Mousetrap as a kid? Where like you build the thing and the cage slowly moves down at the end. That's kind of what that reminds me of.
You get stuck on this side if you get it right.
Yeah, it's just that side.
No, this side gets stuck, see?
Oh yeah, it gets stuck up there. But that's no fun. You've lost your sandwich.
The other tiny, very, very important thing to know about the spawn on the
over here.
blue spawn is this.
Although you can get out of it these days.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could always get out of it.
You could, yeah,
What?
but nobody knew it.
Okay, you can get trapped in here, and medics have been trapped in here before and been very sad because they've had an Uber and they're fucked. But wait, I think you need to ride the pole, so to speak.
Jesus.
Until you're at a certain height, and then you can jump out. Just about. Where is that?
Oh my god, it's like a
There we
levitation.
go. Managed to get out.
I can't even get in.
Just duck jump in there. You should be able to trap yourself behind the pole.
Yeah, then you surf the wall for
Well,
like 5 seconds and you can jump out.
Oh, as soon as my
yeah, I'm
trapped in there. Sweet.
This is almost like Hansel and Gretel.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yes,
Yeah, so after you're stuck in, if you like surf the wall where you slowly gain height for 5 seconds, you can jump straight out again.
You need to get
It's
it
pretty
just
cool.
at one of the high points to work out how to get out there. But yeah, that's worth
wow.
knowing. In case like
Whoa, what the hell?
you've been dicking around and you get stuck in there. Oh wow, you found a new way to get stuck, MB. Well done. I think you may be
I'm
fucked.
sort of moving, but I can get out again, but I'm stuck on.
I just killed myself.
Okay, so let's actually talk about how you'd attack here. So okay, there's a couple of options here. So the normal thing of the way people do it is they'll send some pit classes to B, they'll send some people to cap to A, and probably leave the medic in here until A's capped and everyone can attack B.
Right.
I personally think that's bad, and here's why. Okay, what tends to happen is your medic spends a load of time just dicking around in spawn with full charge doing nothing, like for the entire time that A caps, and because you're only sending a couple of people to B, they don't really stand much chance. So, okay, here's 2 options you got. One is, if people are doing that, then you can go to A, or what I've been doing recently is I'll equip Dalakos Bar and Gru and maybe Tomislav. And I know that sounds like a completely freakish loadout. What you do is, if you have Dalakos, Gru and Tomislav, you take a Dalakos before this happens, you help clear out A, because there shouldn't be too much here, and if you've got you helping, then whatever your A capping crew should be fine. Then, with your extra Dalakos health, you run like fuck down this way. and you try and catch their combo holding, because because of jumpers being a problem on B, you'll often get the combo holding up here, and yeah, you can jump in here, and because you've got Tomislav out and it's nice and quiet, you can come around here, spun up, and there's times you'll just see a medic hiding in this corner with his healing beam leading over here to someone, and you're just like, oh hi. So
it's a pretty ingenious thing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I can't imagine that medic's mumble at that moment. Like, what the hell?
Usually isn't the medic. I mean, usually every time I've played Gravelpit, they're sat right on the dispenser or sat on the sentry.
That stopped being fashionable in Prem just because of all the jumpers.
Right.
Like,
okay.
Too many medics were dying like that, so everyone was like, keep the medic in one, or... Okay, here's the thing if you do that, though. If you do that and you come out here, don't try and stay alive. Or, like, another thing while you're doing that can combo with escorting your NG to getting a level 3 up here or whatever.
Right.
But here's what you want to do. You want to die. You want to 100% die, because there's no... Like, if you don't die, then you're kind of on C. Your medic's going to end up being, like, in spawn and coming out, and he's like, so, where's my heavy? And you're like, yeah, I'm miles away, not really accomplishing much.
Yeah, I guess. So, I mean...
But, yeah, if you die, by the time you spawn, A will be capped, and you'll be just about ready to do a nice B push. Bam, done.
Yeah.
Okay, what I prefer to even that, and what we've been playing recently, is take the entire team, including the med, and just do a straight Uber push onto B.
Right.
Now, that might sound a bit, like, silly, because you know they've got Uber, aren't you, trying to make them pick and stuff? But here's what you do, right? You do a straight Uber push onto B, and there's two eventualities that happened here. One is that it works, and in which case you get some people capping B. A little bit of... In fact, I'll go on to how you should cap B later. We'll just talk about how this one plays out now. So, one, it works. You either, both medics pop, you get the sentry gun or whatever, and, B's in a situation where it's worth pouring people out of spawn with the increased spawn rates that you have in the attack and the shorter run distance, and it becomes worth, contesting B. If it completely doesn't work, if your entire team dies, then that's actually just fine. What you do is, you have your scout or your demo building in spawn with your medic, and then you just do the regular thing of sending a load of people to cap A. And do you know what? It turns out by the time that you've capped A and you're deciding to push on B, you've lost maybe 20 seconds
over
what you'd have if you went to cap A first.
So, I think if I was to ever say to my team, like, can we try this? It would be like, that's blasphemy. Like, everyone always...
This is not how this point is attacked.
Yeah.
Are you mad?
And pretty much, I'll get shut down and someone will say, yeah, if you don't cap A first, it's like... because it's kind of what's the word? It's kind of a visual advantage as well, because you've capped a point. You know what I mean?
No.
So like people would be really against that, and I think people would feel really like if we lost a lot of players, people would be like, oh, it's the end now. Like,
yeah. Okay, so I mean, this is just a general team thing, but this was something that we had. I seem to remember we had a real problem with ducks in this one. Also chess had a problem with this, but we're kind of sorting that out a bit these days, which is you kind of do a push onto B. Okay, this is like when you've got A capped or not. Say you've got A capped and you do a push onto B and everyone dies, and then you do another push onto B and everyone dies, and at that point someone on your team goes, oh, this isn't working, we need to try something different, and your team starts doing stupid shit, and then you've lost because you've got no fucking chance. Okay, attacking B is like attacking last on Gravelpit. It's really not on Gravelpit, on Barn Blitz. Yeah. It's like massively stacked in the defender's favour. So, say you've got a 30% chance, even teams, you've got a 30% chance of capping B. That means that you go in first time and there's like a 2/3, like 66% chance that you'll die. And then you do it again, and there's another 66% chance you'll die. Now this means that you can have a number of pushes onto B where nothing is strictly wrong, just stuff doesn't turn out in your favour, and it fails again and again. And do you know what? You can lose this map just by attacking B in the right way and just not getting that 30%. Because just because you've done it twice before, it doesn't mean like the chance of it, working or not working is altered in any way. It's just very hard to cap. So a really important one on this map is for your team to know that capping B is hard, for your team to know that you're going to push once, you're going to fail, you're going to push again, you might fail. In fact, you can fail a number of times, but you need to get an Uber built, or like if both teams don't have Uber built, you need to get those dry pushes in while your med's up and building. Be clever about that. But yeah, don't get disheartened about it. It's hard. You will fail this push like multiple times.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's probably never going to happen that I will say, "Can we do this?" and it will happen. So usually we'll send a lot of classes to A. And it's going to be almost impossible for me to say, like, let's try and push B while people are, you know, messing around on A or something. I mean, like, could you send a couple of
classes to do?
Sometimes, usually we had a roster change, so we have a much more confident, kind of aggressive demo man. So I'm sure he will jump the roof of B. And usually we send our soldier and demo. Like last season, the TF2, I was with a different team, and we sent a soldier and a demo to B roof. And and then they just tried to get a med pick and force or whatever, and then if they forced the med, we'd go straight on to B.
Yes.
But if not, we'd just go to A.
So yeah, that's pretty standard. Really. So it's all right. It can work. The problem with it is if you try and just jump roof without the rest of the support of your team, that is, so roof is in some ways an equalizer because the other classes down below can't really help that much. But even so, like, people on roof are presumably going to have overheal. They can come back and get more heal. They can even just drop off and like get back. So even then, like, odds are against you. But that's kind of what you should do. Like, the standard thing is like the beef point fight really revolves around control of roof, just because it's such good high ground.
Okay, so like usually we have our sentry. It's going to be really difficult for me to ever convince my team, at least, to kind of change strats when they're kind of set in stone. So like we have like our sentry here, and like a pretty like old meta kind of strat, and then we have our dispenser here, our combo, and everyone's around here, our pyro. Usually our demo man sets up stickies on A, or somewhere into the door on A, so the spike can call it. So pretty much really like old,
as straight
standard.
as it goes.
Okay, and pretty much, sorry. So like,
let me guess what kills you. You'll lose the roof, then like your demo and Solly will be down. You'll be taking splash from up there, and you're just like,
Well, pretty much, it's either that I always, if I'm standing around here, and then usually I would be taking damage from like a demo man who's got like stickies or a soldier on the roof, because obviously we have no presence up there. Our sentry will like be wrangled so it's not doing anything because our NG wants to keep it alive. Sometimes they come from C, that connector there. And usually that means that we're kind of pincered in, and then again you get the sniper that comes from this side, and then you're pretty screwed as a heavy. Like, I usually we have to like.
You're pretty much describing why I really don't like standing down here.
Yeah, and it's like when our medic is kind of getting wary of it. I've obviously already given him like 2 sandwiches or something, and he's getting low health. And we're gonna usually my kind of habit is to kind of run up this ramp with Uber, get air blasted out, go in, get air blasted out, and then just die. That's pretty much.
Okay, for starters, don't use that ramp. This ramp's much nicer because you can't get air blasted out. I'd say if stuff's coming from C, then you're probably and you're getting pincered, then you need to get hyper aggressive on one of those sides because you can't just stay here and die. In that case, either bust this side because you're not working as the height advantage. Judge it by who's where and if you've got Uber and what can happen. In general though, if stuff's happening round here, the temptation is to come to this corner and fight it. I don't think that's a good idea. I much prefer to be like further back. Like, the people on the floor that you're going to be fighting won't matter a damn for your demo and soldier on roof, so they don't give a damn. You're not like really supporting them at all.
So if you're further back, then obviously you can manoeuvre around into the.
Well, you can just do stuff like you can keep applying pressure. You can stop people coming around the back. Like, one thing I would say is if you're on this ramp though, getting shot from short. Like, whenever you're crossing up on this ramp, like that angle just over there is what will kill you. Like,
okay.
holding the combo up here is actually just great. I mean,
Yeah, that's the thing is, I would love to try something like that, but I don't think that people that they're kind of really set in stone with the way they run things. So it's really difficult to kind of suggest. I mean, I could suggest stuff, and then people will be like,
do you know? Here's a way to try and convince people to do other stuff. Show them like how Prem teams are playing this these days.
right?
Because
Okay.
people aren't doing the old stuff at all.
Yeah.
Like Bubble, where are you guys having your sentry gun and stuff? How are you playing it out?
On B,
Yeah.
we've been having it in shadow, but we rotate it depending on where they're pushing
Where the
from
attack's
usually.
coming from, yeah.
Yeah, we're considering moving it over here though, somewhere around this area. Maybe behind the rock, maybe on that ramp over there.
What's the logic about that one? Is that because your demo's on the hut over there,
Yeah,
cutting off short, so
We'll have
this will have the
sniper
sentry gun
watching-
being really rough on long?
we'll have sniper watching long. We'll have soldier on roof, so soldier can help out on both entrances depending on where is needed. And yeah, we'll have both the entrances covered, the main entrances covered, and then we'll have like the combo.
Oh,
As in-
jeez, Bubble. If you want long covered by a sentry gun, do that bullshit where you have it up on that corner.
Yeah, I was considering it. I'm not sure yet. Got to figure it out.
Yeah, play it out and see what goes on. But yeah, like if I'm attacking out of long and there's a sentry gun up there, that's just like GG. I'm out.
Like,
I'm not
yeah.
attacking. from there.
So usually, if we push B, it's usually from the A connector, like out of 3 onto C, and then through one of the top connectors on that side.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is, what I find is that if their combo and their sentry is down here, it's like as a heavy, you have to kind of run in like to get any damage done, and usually you won't be able to because of the the kind of delay. They won't use Uber for ages. But as you said, it's kind of a really big advantage for them.
What you really want to have on this point is, if, like Bubble was saying, you move your sentry gun away from where their combo is, it means they have to Uber really, really early to try and get your gun. Like, you don't want to Uber into the enemy while defending B at all. Like, if they're coming from C, you do not want to be up here. Because if you're up here, you get this early force, and best case scenario, you block them, and they're going to have people coming out of these chokes and stuff. And
it depends on how you play it. Pandas play the aggressive Ubers, for sure. Yeah, because we put them on the demo man. If we get the early force, then the half a second of extra Uber we have compared to them is the time that the demo man puts in huge spam. It depends on who you pop on, and it depends on how you play
So,
it.
like, how are you supposed to deal with like attacking? I mean, if you usually we end up attacking through here, we've got like the basically what happens is they've lost maybe a sniper or a scout or someone that from A when they were trying to defend, and then they're spawning, and they come pick up. Like they come out of their spawn, they try and pick off some of our classes. We're kind of trapped in this kind of area, losing health, and we'll try and be rushing into this. We might lose our demo man, and if we don't, like, we'll push in with our demo man. But as a heavy, it's like I'm standing here trying to shoot stuff, and I'll probably just get sniped or whatever, and you can't really get in without getting air blasted away without doing damage. So it's pretty difficult to push from here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The reason that we'll come through 1 if we're on attack is because we think their combo's here, and we want to pick someone up. The way that we'll do that is the demo it'll be like the combo, so me, demo, pyro, and medic, and me and demo will come in strong at first, try and either get one of their men down or get the pop out of them. Then we'll get into them, so here's a big one. If the pyro's here, you want to clean him up. If the pyro's not here, let the Uber just happen on the demo, because the gun's going to be a long way away, and you need to put in damage on far targets. If you come out of here and there's no one up here, you are absolutely you're not useless. You're going to be putting in dings from a distance. But
I feel useless.
You don't want to be sapping up Uber time. You want to be like going in behind them. Also, do you know what? If you're like if your combo's in here, and they're doing damage with the Uber, you feel free to just guard their backs and make sure a pyro doesn't spawn. But that all depends on who's spawning and the spawn times and all that.
So obviously if we unless you push from another side, there's no real, and unless they have a hold up here, is kind of
Quite often, what we'll do is for starters, you want people to come in from multiple angles at once. Like let's go through the points. If you're coming in through long, then you want a couple of people with you. There might be a sniper looking at you, but if you're on Fist of Steel and you're barreling down long with overheal, that's not actually that scary for you.
So,
but at the same
okay,
time,
right.
if they've got people on roof, then that becomes too much. So you need people jumping from short onto roof while you're coming out of long.
Okay. So you like a soldier or a demo man doing that.
And
okay.
if you have someone peeking from C at the same time as you're doing that, then suddenly all their attentions are very like spread out. Like the trick to getting both C and B on this is to have concerted attacks from multiple angles, all well timed. That's like
okay.
when.
Sorry.
Go.
I was going to
I don't actually have
pushing
very
from
long before I have to go, so...
no, that's cool. I have to go for we've got a scrim actually tonight, so that's useful. I guess we do the demo review another time.
Let me just go through things as quickly as I think.
Yeah,
this is going to be really scrappy. Okay, so attacking B, you can come out this way. Don't ever go behind rocks this way. Here, you're just too far away from stuff. So what you want to do is, if you're coming from this side, you don't want to be the one in the lead, because then you'll take too much damage. You want to wait till your demo's outputting damage, and your options are you can come around this corner with your demo and start putting damage there, or you can wait till your demo is shooting that way and you can come to these windows, and these windows are great for picking off a sentry gun, but you don't want to be the first person to attack when you're doing this, otherwise loads of stickies will come in through the window and you'll die. What else about attacking B? Once you've got people on B point and it's capping, a really good idea is to, depending on how things are going, get your combo or get a decent force up here close to these doors, because okay, if you're capping B and your entire team is sitting on the point trying to get cap, then they can come in and your fish in a barrel. They can start spamming in through the windows. The heavy coming up from this ramp has a really good time of it, because it's a very target rich environment for him. Whereas if you have people up here, they're fighting out of a choke point, which is horrible. Like if your demo sticky's up 1 and you've like got your heavy near 2 or whatever, then suddenly getting back into B, they're not going to want any part of that. And even if you've only got one person capping, that can kind of be worth it. So that's something to definitely think about. Also, if you do get a B cap and you've still got your Uber knocking about, then get people up and use that. Like get into them fast. Like even if you kind of get the Uber out of them and destabilize them, if they don't have people up, like what's really hard to crack on C is once they have a very stabilized defense. But while things are on edge, I mean, you don't want to be just like spawning into them, stagger spawning and all that. That's terrible. But yeah, you like if you can destabilize them with the combo getting in early, getting on Spire, so that, you know, like if your combos say here, you can defend any spawners trying to get into B while stopping the C.
While they're capping. Okay, right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like. So usually when we cap B, the thing is we sometimes have our combo go to C, but if say we've got a couple of like flank classes on B capping, and they get kind of taken out, we'll have to go back and finish the cap.
Yes,
so it's kind of
that's
like,
the problem. You really need to watch out for that. So again, it's like, in fact, the capping of B and who you leave back there is very similar to the balance of if you're defending B and knowing when to go back in and take it. That's experience, that's looking at who's up, it's the calls, it's DM. So wait, I've got 5 minutes now, so things that really need to be covered. Okay, if you're kind of doing a simple hold, have your heavy on tower, that's really good. If you're doing a more complex hold, you have your heavy down there. One thing that I'd say is, oh wait, no, we're attacking, aren't we? We weren't defending, what are we talking about? Yeah, so for attacking, if they're holding over here, then you want to get both Ubers forced, wait till the Ubers have gone, and then do a dry push in here and kill stuff. Because actually, once you're dry pushing into that corner, it's pretty easy to kill stuff if you have it zoned out and you have people focusing on the other attack routes, so they have to pay attention. What will lose you pushes is if everyone tries to go in through the same point. What you need is like some people on A, you need your combo on like say B, or your combo on A and some people on B. You need to come from different angles so they can't just focus these chokes, so they've got to be looking in too many directions at once. As soon as you Uber is heavy, you got 2 options. One is get frags down here, which is legitimate, and the other is get the tower. Getting the tower is a great idea. A little trick I've used on a great number of times, this is amazing, is if you're say running up here with 1 or 2 other classes or your entire team or whatever, once you're running up to cap point, don't go all the way to cap point. If you've got someone capping point, just chill here, spun up. And their defenders running up to try and stop the cap will die in their droves upon your minigun. It's amazing.
Right, okay. So rather than try
Trying
and
to get
contribute.
that to work so many times.
Also-
Sadly, their entire combo is mostly holding here, so we need pressure first.
Yeah, you know, this is like once you got people on point. The other thing is, if you're down here, okay, right, if you're up here capping, their jumpers will come up, see you, and start putting damage into you. If you're down here stopping people coming up, and a jumper goes up top and you notice the cap isn't on, you can run up top and come behind their jumper from an unexpected angle and just take him out. So, like, if there's a cap on, I highly recommend not capping and just chilling down here. But, I mean, again, this is one of those judgment calls that may or may not work. Play it out, see how it works for you, and see how you like it.
One thing I'd say in general is just to... it's more of a team-based thing, but your team should definitely know what the intention of the Uber is before they use it. If the intention is to climb, then what you'll be doing is you'll be spreading a lot of people through the Uber so that people can get into the point quickly. So you'll put the Uber on Demoman to put him through first, and then when he's definitely through and they're not focusing him because he's Ubered, you put the other people through. If it's a kill things Uber, then once again you put it on the Demoman, but you keep it on him usually.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'd say about that is you kind of want that to be an adaptive thing as well. Like, when you bust in with your Uber, you've got, milliseconds to make that decision of what you should do with it. And again, that's just part of you and your demo and your medic just playing a lot together and getting on that level of knowing what each other are going to do. Like, if you see your demo coming out of here Ubered and he's like going straight in and trying to attack people down here, then leave them to it. Their Uber's going to be there. Fine, you want to hit the tower. If everyone's like bombing up to tower, then you kind of... I end up like, if everyone's bombing up to tower, I end up just like running cover at the back, because you're not going to get up there super fast. And do you know what? If there's like people up there on tower, you're not actually that good at attacking them. Because say there's a heavy up there, like a soldier will be putting splash in him, putting a lot more damage in on the heavy, then you will be waddling up into his fire at a bad angle from below. You don't want that.
Right. So like, if someone, I know you got like pressed for time. If there's someone on the cap, like, are you waiting for your team to do something about it before you start?
No, you can go up, you can deal with that, but at the same time, if you've got, say, if your demo and Solly are leading their way up in a kind of wall of explosives, you don't need to worry about that too much.
Right.
Like,
okay,
go up
cool.
with them, but also, you can like spare time to spread some chaos. Right, but I really need to go now.
Yeah. Sure.
Cool. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, we'll get some demo previews before Monday night. I'll probably have some time if we can do another early one.
Yeah, that's fine. Any time is good.
Scrims and that. Cool.
Yeah,
okay,
cool.
I gotta go.
Nice one. See you later, guys.